former Sheriff of Mumbai and a force to reckon with in the field of education. Dr. Indu Shani is the founding dean of the Indian School of Management and Entrepreneurship. She is also the president and chair, academics of the Indian School of Design and Innovation. Dr. Shani has over 3 decades of teaching experience. She is a visiting faculty member at UC Berkeley and NYU Stern and has been a lead speaker at various conferences in India and abroad. Welcoming Dr. Indu Shani, a visionary thought leader and a proponent of value-based leadership.
All the distinguished guests here and all the lovely ladies of the IMA. It's such a wonderful morning for me to be over here and to talk to all of you. What I'm really thrilled about is all the men have to sit at the back, which is what I like. So I think we should give a round of applause for them for taking the back seat for a change. So, you know, even in my college, you know, there are so many girls, and when you have the dean's list put up, most of the top 10 are girls. And I think that's when I say I need reservation for men now. Because it's only at this time that I realize that the women are definitely leading the way and have led the way. So first of all, let me tell you, when I got this invite, I was a little curious to say that why would suddenly I get an invite from Indore and from the IMA? And then I said maybe you know, many other ladies also from Mumbai have been invited, so that's fine. But I have to say that I thought that this would be an opportunity for me to just come and say a big thank you to Indore. And why am I saying a thank you to Indore? Is because I've had the most wonderful students from Indore in all my colleges. And here's a big applause for all of you. It's absolutely wonderful. And you won't believe it, that I started my teaching career with Sydenham, but I had to teach my own class because I was doing my master's and I was told to teach you know, the class just below me. And I think you all put in the newspapers that this is happening and the names of all the speakers who are coming in. And one of my first students of that class, Sunil Malu, writes to me to say, ma'am, you're coming here and I want to meet you and please find 10 minutes for me. We make the best poha in Indore. And I didn't get a chance to meet him. He's requested Devraj to swing by him. I don't know if you're going to have the time, but this is just to show that right from Sunil to all the students that I've had at HR college, to the students that I've had even now in my new schools, I have to thank you all. And if there are any teachers here, let me thank all your schools. You have produced some wonderful students for us. Thank you so much. I have also to tell you that one day when I was at HR college, suddenly one of the pune comes and says that Digvijay Singh aa rahe hain, andar corridor mein aa gaye hain. I said, Digvijay Singh or HR college mein or Bombay mein kya kar rahe hain? And by the time I could ask him I asked the pune, where is he, what is it? Shri Digvijay Singh entered my college and mere bete ko aapko yahan padhana hai. I said, kyun Delhi mein nahi padhana hai? He said, nahi, Mumbai mein padhana hai. So I'm happy to see that a lot of the students come to Mumbai and I hope we do justice to your students. So to start with, I think before I was told that I must make a little presentation because it's a long discourse, but I think I'll go through that a little later. But let me first tell you how women themselves play a very important role in the women. And I think it starts with our mothers. And I'm going to tell you a personal story that I was doing my master's at Sydenham. That's when I was teaching Sunil. And the principal of Sydenham College, which was one of the leading colleges in Mumbai, offered me a teaching job. As soon as I finished my master's, I was just told that Hindustan Levers, which is one of the leading multinationals, in those days it was the multinational, is now opened up for MCOM students to apply. And I was so excited because I always wanted to go to IIM, but I had to stay back in Mumbai. And so I said, this is the way I can get back to all my friends who were management trainees at several of these places. And so I applied for the job of Hindustan Lever. It was an 8-tier interview, and 3 months the interview landed. And I was studying for it as I had studied for no exam of mine, because I wanted to make it into the industry and the corporate world. And I did 7, and the 8th was just a final one with the managing director to say I accept the job. And I was so excited, and I was just leaving for the 8th interview. And you know how wonderful our mothers are. They come to drop you at the door, and they whisper something in your ears which can change your lives. And my mother whispered to me, and she said, the returns you will get from the smiles of the students will go far beyond the returns you will get in selling soap, shampoo and detergent. And I have to say that made up my mind. I did not go for the 8th one, and I accepted my job of teaching, and I have to say I have no regrets. I have absolutely no regrets. It's the smiles of my students who have taken me over all these years. To begin with, I taught in Sydenham. Then I taught at NM for some time because I got married and moved there. And then I was very fortunate to become the vice principal and then the principal of HR College, where I've been for 25 years. And with 25 years of experience there, I could understand how important it was and how much education made a difference in the lives of everyone, not just women, but young people. And the first day I became principal, it was the year 2000. And 2000, if you all remember, was the millennial year, right? And everybody was so excited, changes taking place and so on. And Mr. Deepak Parekh, whom I saw a little earlier in your presentation, he's been here also. He was the chair of HDFC and sitting just behind me, working just behind us because HR College and HDFC were next to each other. And he sent me flowers, which was fantastic, but he sent me a little newspaper cutting, torn newspaper cutting, and said, read this. And you know, that was a wanted column from a newspaper, year 2000, and which said, wanted for a job of porters, okay, hamal, porters, minimum qualification BCom. And that was a shock. I had just become principal, thinking what a great thing, you know, the leading commerce college in Mumbai, and this is what it is. And he said, are you going to produce porters? This was 2000, and I think that was a realization for me. How has the education system been able to change with the changing times? And I realized that BCom was not going to be getting the jobs that we wanted. And so I decided what's going to get the jobs and what can I do for my BCom students? And then they said chartered accountancy. And that's when we made our college a factory of chartered accountancy. And I must say that when I started, there were 3 students only out of 7,000 students who were doing chartered accountancy. And I have to tell you, now, when I left, I moved out of the HR college to start my new institutions. That's when there were, out of the 1,100 students who passed every year, 940 students who are doing chartered accountancy, and I am the highest. But I think time has moved from there too, and are we only going to look at BA, BComs and BScs, and are we only going to look at chartered accountancy? Because we are moving into what's called Industry 4.0. But before I get into this, I have to tell you one more story about about how the smiles of the students got me where I was. One fine morning, I get a call from the governor of Maharashtra's office to say that I've been appointed the sheriff of Mumbai. And I say, sheriff of Mumbai? What's that? I thought it was my son playing a prank on me. You know how our children love doing these things to us. And he always thought that I used to be a principal and up in the air and I had to be grounded quite often. So he would play these pranks. And I said, no, there's nothing like sheriff, stop playing the prank, and I put the phone down. 10 minutes later, the ADC brought the letter saying you're the sheriff of Mumbai. And I said, sheriff? I didn't know what the sheriff of Mumbai did. There are only two cities which have the sheriff, the Calcutta and Mumbai. And I remember Mumbai, we had Nana Chudasma, we had Dilip Kumar and Gavaskar and all these people being the sheriffs. And I said, what does the sheriff do? And before I could pick up, Google and find out what the sheriff does, this was 2008, before I find out that, I get a call from the media, Times of India, saying that we want to interview you. And I said, interview me for what? Saying you've just been appointed a sheriff. So I said, all right, let me go very quickly to the college. I'm coming there and I'll let you know. And thank God for our messaging system. And I send out a message to the students. What do you think the new sheriff of Mumbai should do? And my 7,000 students were connected on the email with me. And the amount of responses I started. My drive from my home to the college was about 20 minutes. In 20 minutes, they had asked me to start a women's helpline, to clean Mumbai, green Mumbai, the sheriff's brigade, and everything. As soon as I went there, the media was waiting, and I said everything that they had said. And, of course, because it came all into the papers, next morning I've been told to sit in the sheriff's office, which was in the High Court, and the police escorted me. And I said, this is fine, I feel great, but what am I supposed to do? And they said the sheriff can follow his heart and do whatever you want to do for the city of, for the city of Mumbai. The other sheriffs were industrialists and so on. And I said, but here, suddenly I felt all my 7,000 students thought that they were the sheriffs, and why don't I really follow what they've said? But before I could think, a young girl walks into my office, and she opens a computer, and she says, ma'am, I need 10 minutes with you. And the sheriff's people are running around, she has no appointment, how can she come in? Suddenly there was a protocol, right? And I said, I'm not the governor, I'm the sheriff, there's no protocol. So I called the girl in and she made the presentation. You know what presentation she made? She made a presentation to tell me how I should set up a women's helpline. If some of you remember, 2007, December, we had, or 2008 it was, December, at New Year's time, we had a very tragic case of molestation and whole of Bombay city was rocked. And we wanted at that stage to do something about it, and Women's Helpline was the answer. But who's going to run my Women's Helpline? And she said, I'm going to run your Women's Helpline. Who are you? I'm 1298. What's 1298? I'm an ambulance company. You are 26 years old and you're running an ambulance company. We only thought ambulance companies were run by people who are in the NGO sector. She said, no. I've set up an ambulance company called 1298. We have private ambulances. She had 2 ambulances then. And she said, if you call the ambulance to go to a private hospital, you pay for it. If you call it to go for a municipal hospital, you don't pay for it. The rich subsidize the poor. That was an economics model. Ladies and gentlemen, no gentlemen, all ladies, so some few gentlemen there. She actually set up a women's helpline. Even today, you can call up 1298 Women's Helpline, and we have, although I'm not a sheriff, though they haven't appointed another sheriff after me, I have to hold charge, but not a formal sheriff. The 1298 continues even after, for 10 years and 11 years, run by the young Shweta she set up this, what is called a social entrepreneurship project. And I think that what is the future today of social entrepreneurship. And Shweta, in that 1 year, helped me to build many social entrepreneurs. Let me tell you about young Dhruv Lakra who came in. Young Dhruv Lakra came in from Kashmir. His mother brought him to me in HR college. She was in a burqa. This child was hiding behind her and said, take care of me. मेरे बच्चे को education दे दो. I said, क्यों यहाँ से, क्यों जम्मू and Kashmir से ले आ रहे हो? And she said, no, because वहाँ पे इसके father को terrorist ने attack किया है. So we took care of Dhruv Lakra. 5 years, the pink, lovely, rosy young boy lost his color, but he was in Mumbai coping, finished his masters with me and commerce with me. He was doing very well. Suddenly he gets a fantastic job because he's a ranker, gets a job with Merrill Lynch. I'm so happy that I've been able to fulfill the promise to the lady, his mother. And then 10 days later he comes back to me and he says, ma'am, this job doesn't tug at my heart. What tugs at your heart? I'm going to join an NGO. I said, कैसे कमाओगे? क्या खाओगे? He said, don't worry. You know what young Dhruv has started? He's the first courier company in India today which employs only the deaf. It's called Miracle Couriers. You'll be happy to know he's just got the President's Award. He has now 300 deaf people working for him, and he has got the Amazon Award for the best courier company in India. This is what it is, social entrepreneurship. But I'm going on, this is what I want to say, the smiles of the students never let me down, never let me down. But I think it's time. I've been called with a purpose and I was given an agenda, so I prepared a quick presentation. I'll go through it very quickly, but I want to tell you, shall we start with? So, are women ready for Industry 4.0? I think Industry 4.0 is what I'm going to explain in a little while to you, but before that I want to say, women have always been ready. Women have always been ready. Whether it's your mothers, your grandmothers, or it is, which side do I press? You're going to put it on right now. Or it's your granddaughters. They're always ready, on the move. And let me tell you, we have the baby boomers, then we had our Gen X, then we had Gen Y, then we had the millennials. I think a lot of you here, I can see young people here, a lot of you are millennials, and this is going to be Gen X, right? Gen Alpha. And this Gen Alpha is going to be apparently born from 2015 to 2025, they're going to be the smartest generation in 21st century with highest technology. Naturally, because it's not Generation Alpha, it's Generation I, the iPhone. That's what they are. And I think there's a big debate going on in colleges. Should we use the iPhones in the colleges or not? There's a big debate going on in America, and there are two states fighting with each other to say one state wants to allow it, one state, whether phones should be allowed in the schools. You know how you should do this? You should allow the phones and use them in the college. Most of 30% of our projects in my new schools are done through WhatsApp. And all the submissions come in time. All the submissions are perfect because these students have mastered the art of WhatsApp, right? They live with it. And they can do it at any time of the night. And they can Google and do it, Google and do it. At this is the stage when Alexa is her friend. Google Home is her friend. Why are we denying that? let us work with it. We moved to, sorry, I'm going backwards. Okay, we moved to, that's Gen Alpha. Okay, these are the four, 4.0. The first one starting was steam engine, then you had mass production, it was the factory system, then of course we had the computer and automation, and now we are in a digital world. This was given by Klaus Schwab, who talked about from the World Economic Forum, who brought in 4.0. My whole question here is not just women, but is education ready for 4.0? Are we still producing porters? Are we still producing BA, BComs, BScs and engineering colleges and so on, which are aligned to maybe the second or the third 3.0 or 2.0? How are we moving ahead with that? Because there are lots of challenges, and we have to understand these challenges. 70% of your jobs, the jobs of the future, are going to be automated. Now, I've just been invited, as I go back, to a restaurant which is going to have robots who are waiters, right? It's happening. We've got a robot in every corner of our school. Why? Not just because we want to show automation, but we want to tell the students, please understand this point. We've not brought in because of automation, or we are not teaching robotics. We brought them in because we want the students to understand this is the future, start accepting it. Like my granddaughter, I tell her, go kiss Alexa. That's going to be your future. They have to understand emotional intelligence towards machines who are going to be sometimes their bosses, right? This is a change that we have to try and understand. Lots of the jobs of real, I'm on the BNP Paribas board, and I was taken to their London, great offices in London, and they showed me the trade center, and I went in there and I saw a whole lot of, a huge auditorium full of computers and fabulous infrastructure. And there was no people. I said, where are they? I said, no, these are the bots who are working. The computers are the people who are working over there. They don't need human beings there. That's the future. It's going to happen. It's going to come. But not all jobs are going to come. If any of you can Google, you should Google. This morning an article has come from MIT saying that quantity of work may go away, but quality of work will still be with humans. And that's what the quality of work we'll have to try and work on. Okay, let's move ahead. These are the sectors which are going to be still very effective for us. And I think women are going to score very high in the jobs of the future. Creative industries, creative endeavors. These are the ones that where I think not just men but women more than anyone will do well. And these are going to remain. These are not going to go. Social interaction. Everywhere you see the skills of the future are negotiation skills, people management, collaboration, getting along with people, emotional intelligence. These are the skills of the future. Gone are the engineering skills and the technology skills as being primary. These skills have come over because you're going to be interacting with people. Service industries are going to take on much more than manufacturing because automation will handle manufacturing. Service will have to be still maintained by this. I loved the way when I got into your Radisson Blu yesterday, and one of the girls who took me to my room, she said to me, ma'am, you're very tall. I said, lovely, thank you so much. Sometimes you get paid compliments for things you don't expect. And then, then she says, I have two sisters. One is 7.2 and the other one is 7.5. I'm the only one who's 5 feet tall. And I said, but are they as beautiful as you? And she said, no, they are more beautiful than me. But I think how wonderful is that when somebody taking you to your room has a little chat with you, And it's so beautiful. And I think Indore compliment yourself. She's from Indore, and I asked her, have you studied? She said, I'm born and brought up in Indore. And I said, this is your culture, which I could see in this little girl who was there. So compliments to you, all of you. So with this, I would say mobility will be very important. That's why I showed you that photograph of my granddaughter with bags around. Because while I was packing, I was told, please bring a big bag, you've got to carry some gifts back. I said, all right, and I was taking the bags out. I wanted to show you mobility is going to be the future. Don't expect people to stay in Indore, don't expect people would work out of anywhere. You could be, working out of airports. McKinsey has set up an office in Terminal 5 of UK in London, because they found that most of their managers were going in and out of the airport. So best was to have I think Momita here, my colleague, would say that you should really just stay at the airport, but she keeps going in and out. I invited her, I said, I'm getting the privilege to go to meet some of the best schools, one of the newer schools, GT Goenka, Delhi College, where I have my favorite students from, and Emerald Heights. Please come along, you won't get this opportunity. I really accepted because I was getting this opportunity to go to your wonderful schools. So let's go through this. I was told that it's an hour, but we will try and see as quickly as we can go through. Now, coming to women. This probably is the biggest challenge India has in education, women's education. You can see the dropout rate, that if from this dropout rate you can see that there are 50% lesser women in the labor force today than even men. And unfortunately, the entire percentage of women working has gone down in the last so many years, from 2005 to 2018, which is why it's really something that we should focus on education for the girl child. I think the government is doing things like Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, and many other schemes. But I think, you as women can actually play a very important role. And I think you should see that at least your house help, who's helping you, and their children should study in good schools. Please ensure that you can see that the generation beyond this, who are working for you in an unorganized sector, can work in an organized sector. And they're very smart. My maid's daughter got 95% in ICSE. I mean, look at that. I studied my whole life over there for ICSE and got a 72%, and she got a 95%. How bright there is, right? And then she said, "हमको HR college में जाना है," and I said, "HR college आपको दरवाजा खोल के बुलाएंगे." Why not? Because you're wonderful. So you must come in. And she said, "हम IT लेंगे," and I said, "अब ज़रूर." And she got into IT, and she's doing very well. And she writes me a beautiful thank you note, which I haven't seen a lot of young people write. So please do that. This is the only thing that you'll be able to help here. Okay, let's go. So what's the future? The future is entrepreneurship. 23 million babies are born every year. Less than 1 million jobs are being created. I tell my students, thousands of you are graduating, you're not going to have jobs. We Indian universities only develop job seekers. I think it's time we start developing job creators. We need young people to be creating wealth for the others. There is no college of entrepreneurship. Where is the college of entrepreneurship? There's one in Ahmedabad, which is a master's program. Why is entrepreneurship not a part of our curriculum? Why is not? Gone are the days of commerce, arts, liberal arts, all this. It's only entrepreneurship. 98% of the women are in unorganized sectors. Why can't we do something for entrepreneurship? Only 14% of the entrepreneurs are women entrepreneurs. Out of 126 million in the world, 8 million are from India are entrepreneurs. some of you successful ones are sitting here, successful or ones who are trying to make it also. I think something that we have not understood about entrepreneurship is that entrepreneurship is not like a job where you're going to get a fixed thing and get a fixed answer and get a fixed job and get this. Let's have that risk-taking in us. We haven't put that in our young people. Math padho, ye padho, wo padho, but there that risk of taking and doing things is not there. My young people, when I see them in my college, it is, while I talk about this morning I got this, let's finish this. These are the challenges that our women entrepreneurs face, and I think you're quite aware of the credit access. That is where, because I think ma'am said over here that they only are title holders, it's very difficult for them to give collaterals for if they were taking credit. And I think women should understand that these are some of the problems that they have. And of course, facilitators for women entrepreneurship, we have to see that we have a rise of role models. Shweta Mangal brought in so much of social entrepreneurship to my college. My young entrepreneurs today who come and walk into my room and say, we've done this and we're doing this. A lot of them who are coming to speak today were very young ladies in our colleges and who have started entrepreneurship. I think we need to have more role models, and I'm glad you invited many young entrepreneurs to speak here. This is what is happening. This is what I've just received this morning while I'm talking about that the speed, the drivers are changing. I didn't know that my students are putting up a startup weekend for women entrepreneurs. I said, who's this with Techstars? What's Techstars doing? Techstars is going to give them the training. What's Google doing? There's a Google startup which is working with them. The best team will go to Singapore to present with all India city colleges. I said, how did you find it? A 19-year-old, 20-year-old, 22-year-old. Look at them. You'll see that. Here are the young people. He's the trainer who's come down from Google. These are the girls just before I left yesterday who came to invite me to start up. Every day the startup fever is taking on because we are the first institute of management and entrepreneurship. We've just been recognized by AICT to be the apex body, to be the first college giving the postgraduate program like a PGDM in entrepreneurship. No other colleges, not even IIMs, give the postgraduate diploma in entrepreneurship. Well, so what are the skills of the future? I think this is something that we've never looked at. Indira Nui the other day in a beautiful talk, I wanted to show that film, but I may not be able to show that film. She said that the 4 C's are very important: creativity, critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and compassion. But I think most important is the work readiness. Are our kids ready? The bank across, Bank of Baroda, the gentleman has gone, but I wanted to tell him that it was the bank across. My students did banking and finance at HR college, but when they went there, the bank manager used to ring me up, Jara, teach them how to do a reconciliation, teach them. I said, sab padha hai, but they don't know practical. I think work readiness is very important. Soft skills, technical skills, and I think this is why we set up our new institutions. DICE, design, innovation, creativity, and entrepreneurship. One sentence that the promoters came and told me, the corporates who came and told me that you are producing people who are not fitting into the industry. We are not able to get your people in. Create entrepreneurs, create designers, create innovators. And they said design is going to be the future. Apple changed the world. Steve Jobs changed the world. One iPhone has changed the world. You're mobile, you are working out of your office while you're here. So we started this, and I think they said last 10 minutes I could say whatever I wanted to. So this is what I wanted to share, how different it is from the colleges I had before and what different things we are doing. And and still the smiles of the students that are going ahead. So let's very quickly go through it. We started 5 colleges. Design is with Parsons. As you can see it, we have a curriculum collaboration. We started, this is the most unique, I have a young advertiser here who's sitting here from Infectious, and she said she's heard about this. I said to industry, you come and set the school up. What do you want at the end? We don't know. You set up the school, you give us your curriculum, you train our students, and you give them placements. Ladies, and yes, the gentlemen here, you will be happy to hear, and first of all, sir, congratulations on that great award. And just to tell you, 2 graduations of this and have got 100% placements in all the top agencies. This is the new model of education. Management and entrepreneurship, as you can see, these bright young kids, all of them have got their entrepreneurial projects. They employ my senior students, can you believe that? We started the School of Hospitality. I'll tell you why I started the School of Hospitality. I went to a restaurant in Bandra. Beautiful, lovely food. And when I finished eating, they said the chef wants to meet you. And the chef came across and she said, ma'am, this is me. And I said, Ankita, you were the CA topper in my college. You got the award for being number 4 in All India CA. You are a chef. She said, ma'am, that was always my desire, but there was no school where I could go for. I had to do CA because my parents told me to, but after that I had the freedom. I practiced, and now I am a chef, and she's running the most successful restaurant in. That's when I thought hospitality is the future. How many of you are in food tech? How many? Look at that, I can see many. All my kids want to start food enterprises. You know, that's what the future is. And of course, the latest is animation and you know, film production. And that's what our latest one is about with Vancouver Film School. Let's go very quickly, show you. We ourselves have won awards, and we just got the Fashion Design Award. We got the first Grand Jury Award, but let me tell you the best award that I got recently. I was with Anand Mahendra and Keshav Mahendra. We do once a year their scholarships. It's called the K.C. Mahendra Scholarship, and I chair that. 100 best minds in India come there for interview. And one of the young students, Anand, asked him, what do you think we lack here? And he said, social media. Anand looks at me, it's 8 p.m. in the night. I sent out a WhatsApp to my group to say, anyone interested in creating a WhatsApp for doing social media and digital media for K.C. Mahendra? By 12 o'clock they had sent me a presentation. 5 students got together. That presentation went across to him. He called them over the next day, and I've got all these messages. I have next appointments. I will take this on, but I was given the stage at 11:30. Okay, so that's it. It was 11 to 12, but it was given at 11:30. I'll do it in a minute. And that's when Anand tweeted, this is something that you have to see. These were the young students, first-year students who presented to him. And look what Anand has said. By afternoon, the next day, they came and made an outstanding presentation. The lesson for us corporates, we won't survive unless we emulate agility and competence of the young people. Give it to the young people. Nitya Binda said the same. She said it was amazing to be here. These are your schools who are taking us here. Thank you so much, children. I want to show you very quickly. This is your young Sudha Agarwal, who is from Delhi College, and she's doing a wonderful job. Anyone recognizes or knows her here? Delhi College, anyone here? She's from there, and her success story at ISDI is outstanding at the design school. All right, let's go fast. We got this, we've had that. I just want to show we do contribution. One of the things that I have suggested to you, sir, and to all of you ladies here, if you can do a day trip to Mumbai, we would love to do a design thinking workshop for you. That's the future. Can I offer this? We will host you. We will do it. Please get on to the morning flight. Come there and we will host you for the day. Pomita, will you take this on with her? When will you come? Tell us the day. When do you want to come?
I think all of us, we should take this opportunity.
Yes.
Right? Will you take this opportunity? Should we write to you?
Yes.
Design thinking is the future. Design thinking is nothing to do with art, fashion. Design thinking is how did Dhruv Lagra think that the deaf had nothing else to do, and how can we make them creative? And the courier company, you don't need to speak, you just need to deliver. Only the deaf could do it. Understanding empathy. And I think that's what it was. So design thinking, this is, let me give back to Indore something that you have done so much for me, has given such wonderful students. Let us give back to you. All right, let's go. We just wanted to show you, we've had some, you had a quick one. We had Prince Edward who visited us. The CM, of course. Let's go, Mr. Chandrasekharan, Sanjeev Mehta of Hindustan Levers, Mukul Devras of Colgate, Piyush Goyal. These are all people who have been, Aditya Thackeray, who's, as you know, this morning, we've had people from AICT here, and I've just got to know, right when I'm here, that the new governor of Maharashtra is visiting us on Monday, and there's panic in the institution because they don't know what to do, but because he wants to meet the social entrepreneurs. So, with this, I just would like to say a big thank you to all of you. It's amazing. It has not, if it were not for the smiles of the students, I don't think I would be here. It will not for the smiles of the students, I would not have taken this direction after running a conventional college to bringing up a new age institution. It is a challenge because it's new age, but they always say that सोच बदलो तो सितारे बदल जाएंगे, नजर बदलो तो नजारे बदल जाएंगे, क्यों रोज किश्तियां बदलते हो, दिशाएं बदलो तो किनारे बदल जाएंगे।